So as you can see, I'm moving around a bit better. However, there are days where I'm using my crutches, and that's been happening more and more frequently. Here's what I've learned recently, which has been really helpful in managing that stuff and keeping me in a space where I'm able to move around somewhat normally in a very limited capacity. Also, for those of you who are unaware, there's a term called dynamic disability. It just means that basically you don't have a linear pattern. Like, your health is not the same every day. For those able-bodied folks who are not used to this, think about the fact that there are days where you wake up sick, and just imagine that happening on and off all the time. What was happening and what has been really frustrating is sort of this boom and bust situation. Now, let me explain that. So let's talk about boom and bust. So I'm doing okay for many days. I decide to spend a ton of energy and then I crash. And, this usually happens for me like 2 to 3 days afterwards, where it gets really bad, and gets so bad that I'm struggling to stand. There's a term, spoons, which is used often, and that has been helpful. But what has been really useful for me is this analogy of a bank account. A bank account where you can overdraw, meaning that you took out more money than you actually have, so you get hit with fees, but you're able to use that temporarily. And a balance minimum, where you have to have a certain amount of money in there or it'll start charging you fees. So let's look at that. Okay, so let's say you have 5 energy coins in a day, or spoons, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is 5. And let's say this is your energy for each day. And this is the max energy limit. This is your 5 tokens. Okay, so let's say, for example, I decide to do something athletic. Something's happened. I need to sprint somewhere. I can still do that. I won't be able to move the next few days, but I can still do stuff like that. And that is kind of like overdrawing my account, right? So basically what happens is I shoot up here and I just overgo. And I can use that energy in the moment, but there's going to be negative consequence of that, and it's going to crash. Now, what's interesting is if you hit this limit, you've already gone too far. So you actually want to stay underneath, right? And think of this as your minimum balance. Basically, if you have 5 energy coins you can use in a day, you should only ever use 4. There should always be 1 energy token left over. And that's how you can prevent yourself from having those boom and busts and these crashes again and again. And the thing that's really hard about this is you have to realize everything counts. Okay? Stuff that I've never considered before. And I mean, I've had health issues many times, and I've been severely fatigued many times, but bro, I don't think I've ever had a period where working on the computer exhausts me the way it does. Sitting upright counts in terms of energy. Long conversations that are emotionally charged count. Watching shows or reading books that require you to think count. Working online or figuring things out counts. Walking to the bathroom, making food, standing, all counts. And if you have started to feel the symptoms of overdoing it, you've already overspent. And that drives me insane, because I'm a very, very persistent person. I'm very dogged. I push a lot. And the thing you need to realize is that with the long COVID fatigue, pushing yourself past your limit, unlike a lot of other recovery things and working out, etc., will actually cause long-term harm. And there is an argument to be made that if I hadn't pushed myself as much as I have over the past year, trying to get better and do more, I might actually have been in better physical condition now. So, to recap, what that means is you want to become disciplined about being chill. You need to learn to say no to yourself, to whatever else, whoever else, regarding energy expenditure. Because every time you hit that limit, you're actually reducing your long-term capacity, or medium-term, so we say. But if you manage to get enough rest and take care of yourself and stay within those bounds, you might start seeing improvements. I have noticed some. I don't want to make promises, but it's important to consider it. This all comes from my understanding of the resources from Long COVID Physio. I'll put a photo at the end. They're a group of physiotherapists who are interested in and also live with long COVID. And they put together like a pamphlet for World Physiotherapy Day, which was really helpful. And one of the things that's interesting is an objective way people can do this is using heart rate. So some people can use a heart rate monitoring device like a Fitbit or something like that. And if they stay within about 10 beats per minute of when they wake up, apparently, they'll stay inside this green zone. I'd love to try that. I don't have a heart rate monitor, but being much more mindful and careful and kind of thinking of this system in terms of this bank account analogy has been helpful. And the reason why it's so helpful to me is that it's kind of virtual the way money is virtual, in that it's not immediately there. There's nothing immediately physically telling me that, oh, it's gone, it's here, it's not. I kind of have to keep tabs on it on my own. So I hope you find this helpful. It's been very useful for me, but please, I am not a healthcare professional. I am not an expert. I don't have any credentials. I've shared before that I have a little bit of science background and I was working towards becoming a medical professional, but that is very different from talking to your healthcare team before making any changes. Because there are many, many recovery things where it is helpful to push yourself a little bit. And many of the things I've dealt with in the past involve that. So this has been a change for me, even personally, because I'm very much a push yourself kind of person. So learning to just relax has been important. Thanks for listening. I hope someone finds this helpful. Cheers.